Season 6 heroes have blown my mind already. I'm so excited. I am a Warrior Cav and Warrior Swords main, and when I saw Scipio and Zhao Yun, I can't even say what else happened to me. Scipio is insane. Oh my god, these guys look so insane. 100% Scipio is a must-have. Without a doubt, this guy is a must-have. He's definitely not the commander, so I don't think he's not going to come into the Warrior Swords as a commander. No way. This guy is your S tier support. Your SSS plus tier support. Okay? Scipio Africanus. His signature skill, African Conquest. So what's going to happen here is, after your commander activates their signature active skill, it's going to reduce damage taken by 25% for 3 seconds. After this triggers 5 times, your troops are going to enter something known as the Conquest state for 6 seconds. And during this time, your commander's signature active skill can deal critical strikes with a critical strike weight of 20%. This is huge. Now we've got Warrior Swords dealing critical strikes, which is crazy, because now when you think about it, the Krakens running King Arthur are going to love this guy. King Arthur's signature active skill dealing critical strikes is it's insane. Bye bye Cyrus. Bye bye Belisarius, bye bye Cyrus. Your time is done. So you're dealing critical strikes, but not only that, Scipio is going to boost your commander's signature active skill activation chance by 10%, and your troops will immediately recover units with a recovery rate of 100% with a might bonus. Upon entering battle, you will automatically go into that conquest state. This is crazy. So as soon as you join those battles off rip, your Miyamoto, your Yoda for some, your King Arthur for some, you'll be able to deal critical strikes from your signature active skill, which is huge. This is so huge. He scales really well with his stars. I definitely think this is one of those commanders that you're going to need to have him at 5 stars for sure. So with the first star, it's going to increase your damage reduction effect by 5%. So we'll go from 25 to 30% damage reduction for 3 seconds after your commander activates those signature active skills. From the third star, while in your conquest state, it's going to increase the damage of your commander's signature active skill by 25% with a might bonus. So not only will it have the chance to do critical strikes, it's also going to get boosted in terms of damage output by this third star, which is crazy. Which is quite crazy. And then the fifth star, which is quite cool as well, is with the African Conquest, you need 5 triggers to enter the state. This is just going to bring it down to 4, which is cool. Nice and easy. It just brings it down to 4 rather than 5, so you can get into that state much quicker. When we look at his customizable skills, I love the look of the one-man army. So what this is going to do for you, the other heroes in this march, their signature active skills, they're going to have a 15% increase to activation chance. I think that's huge. I think that's kind of crazy. A constant 15% boost to it, which is huge. And then after a signature active skill is used, it's going to boost the signature active skill damage of all other heroes in your troop by 15% with a might bonus for 3 seconds. This is for sure the customizable skill that we're going to want to use. You've got Bloodthirsty as well, Righteous Judgment, quite cool, and then King's Blade as well, quite a solid option. Scipio doesn't have bad stats either. The increase per level for the might is quite solid. Really solid on the armor and strategy as well. This is like really well rounded for a commander. Here's the comparison to the likes of Miyamoto, the likes of Lagatha as well. So you can see it's decent. It's not terrible. It's not terrible scaling for his attributes at all. Bro, I'm foaming at the mouth. Like, honestly, I am foaming at the mouth for Scipio. This guy looks crazy. I can't wait to run this guy. So what I'm expecting the lineup to be, so if you're not a KA user, Miyamoto, Scipio, Lagatha. Nice and simple. Or for the Krakens, you've got your King Arthur, Scipio, Lagatha. Nice and easy. This is huge, man. This is such a strong commander that's coming for the Warrior Swords. I love it. I love this so much, man. Zhao Yun. Luvu, your time has come again. Your time has definitely come again, because we got a brand new, potentially commander coming for the Warrior Cavalry in the form of Zhao Yun. Now, when we look at his commander skill, it's decent. It is decent. So what we're going to do is deal might damage to the enemy troop. I believe it's just going to be 1 troop, and there's going to be a might bonus. But this commander skill can also deal critical strikes. Once it hits, it's going to apply 1 stack of the Cloud Dragon mark for 15 seconds, whilst also reducing the damage taken by your troop with the might bonus for 6 seconds, which is cool. It's quite cool. It's decent. Not too bad at all. Here's where it gets interesting. Remember that Cloud mark that you're getting from the Commander skill? After any of your heroes activate a secondary strike skill, it's going to apply 1 stack of that Cloud Dragon mark to their enemy troop for 15 seconds. When 3 of these stacks are reached, and it's going to deal might damage at 200% with the might bonus, alright? And this can also deal critical strikes. Additionally, this is insane. This is so insane. Zhao Yun will have 60% chance to make himself and then the next hero enter a double attack state for 3 seconds. The skill itself, so Valiant Rescue, has a 10% chance to deal critical damage. On top of that, Zhao Yun is going to reduce the damage dealt by his customizable secondary strike skills by 30%, but then increase the trigger chance by 5%. I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about the end of that skill, but it is what it is. When we look at his stars though, so it's going to increase the Valiant Rescue's damage rate from 200% up to 240% with that might bonus. And then the critical strike damage of all your heroes is going to increase by 10%, which is cool. This team is going to have Zhao Yun and Lu Bu pumping out critical strikes. So that extra 20% damage on top, yeah, we love to see that. At the 3rd star, Valiant Rescue additionally is going to increase the critical strike rate of all your heroes by 15% and then reduce the critical strike rate taken by your troop by 15%. So I guess that's going to be decent in the matchups against the Warrior Swordsman now that they can also deal critical strikes. For the 5th star, it's going to increase Valiant Rescue's double attack chance by 40%. So it's basically making it 100% chance for Zhao Yun and the next commander to have a double attack for the next 3 seconds. When Zhao Yun, if he's acting as the commander, each normal attack has a 45% chance to recover 5 rage. His customizable skills are interesting. So we got this Dragon Manifestation. This is new. After a normal attack, it's going to alternate between these effects. So the first effect, increase the activation chance of all your heroes' customizable secondary strike skills by 5% for 6 seconds. That will be decent for Lu Bu. That'll be decent for Lu Bu in this lineup. The second effect that it will alternate between is that immediately it will use other customizable secondary strike skill but reduces its damage by 15%. Zhao Yun loves to decrease the damage of his secondary strike skills. We've got Dark Flag, Pay in Blood, and then Critical Insight. It'll be really interesting to see. If you use this skill, it does make a bit more sense to use a Dark Flag or Pay in Blood over Critical Insight. But I guess having Critical Insight relatively high is just going to boost Zhao Yun's chances and Lu Bu's chances to deal critical strike. So that's going to be interesting. We're going to have to test that one a lot. We're definitely going to have to test that one a lot just to see which will work out to deal the most damage. In terms of the lineup, here's what I'm thinking. Off the rip, I'm thinking Zhao Yun as commander. Then you've got Lu Bu in secondary spot. And then Timur with the additional damage reduction. So you've got Zhao Yun and Timur with the damage reduction. Lu Bu pumping out secondary strikes, critical damage. Those secondary strikes are going to be so important because we need those stacks to quickly keep stacking up. The faster we can get to those 3 Cloud Dragon marks, the faster we can then deal this signature skill that can also critical strike. So I can see this in rallies dealing crazy damage. Zhao Yun's attribute overview looking really solid. Slightly behind the might and armor scaling of Lu Bu, but we know Lu Bu is overpowered anyway. This is still really fine. So we've got William the Conqueror for the Tactician Cavalry. Now, I feel like Tactician Cavalry are definitely outshined by the Warrior Cavalry, but William the Conqueror looks very interesting. So, in terms of his command skill, it's recovery. Quite a decent amount of recovery, and it's coming with a strategy bonus. It's going to reduce the armor and strategy of your primary target's commander by a decent amount as well. And then additionally, when your troops deal damage, there's going to be a chance to calculate using the lower of the enemy troops' defense, whether it's might or strategy, whichever's lowest, that's what you're going to target. Then, with his signature skill, Doomsday Judgment. So this is interesting. This is probably the first time we've seen something like this. If your heroes have completely different signature skill types, it marks those skill types. So let's say, for example, you've got William the Conqueror with turn-based, Hannibal with secondary strike, and somebody else with, like, let's say, active or passive. those will be completely different, so it's going to mark those skills. Once every 6 seconds, it's going to then reduce the troops' damage taken by 15% for 3 seconds. And then, whenever the enemy troop activates a skill of a marked type, it's going to increase your hero's same type skill by 10% with a strategy bonus. That's really interesting. That's quite interesting. Completely new. We haven't seen anything like that before. I'm not sure how it's actually going to work in reality. I'm not sure how good that's actually going to be, but it is something unique that we haven't seen before. In regards to his stars, so the first one, after a signature skill activates, your troops take 10% less damage and 10% less skill damage, which is cool. Third star, whenever an enemy troop uses a skill of a marked type, the damage increase effects on your heroes are further increased by an additional 5%. So we'll go from 10% up to 15% there. And then for this last star, which is quite good, I think you will definitely, depending on how good this signature skill actually is, will depend whether you actually take him to this rank 5. But this reads as, whenever an enemy troop uses a skill of a marked type, your hero's damage increase applies to all your skill types. So if you get hit by a secondary strike skill, your turn-based, your passives, your actives will also receive that increase rather than having to match. It's going to increase it by an additional 5% with a strategy bonus. So that should take it from a 15% increase up to a 20% increase with a strategy bonus. Decent strategy, really high strategy as well. Who scales really high with the strategy, so I'm expecting that bonus to be quite chunky. In terms of the customizable skills, this is the new one. I haven't seen this one before. Crown Claim. When the hero uses their signature skill, excluding passive skills, other heroes' signature skills damage will increase by 6% with a strategy bonus. If the skill type is different from this hero's signature skill, it gets an additional 6% damage boost, again with a strategy bonus, and it's going to stack up to 4 times, triggering once per second at most. Then we've just got some strategy damage. We've got triple offensive as well, which is quite good. And then tenacity for the recovery as well on an armor bonus. Alp Arslan, finally, a warrior archer. What's interesting is we're definitely going to see an increase in the power of the warrior swords with the addition of Scipio Africanus. So it's really good that the devs have added in some warrior archers to help counter those in the open field. Here, what we have with Alp Arslan. So, from his commander skill, is going to deal might damage to up to 3 enemy troops in a fan shape in front. This is going to have a damage rate with a might bonus, and then it's going to apply the flee effect. It's going to cause damage that's going to ignore defense, and then it's going to deal damage every second for 9 seconds, which is quite cool. His signature skill, Earth Splitting Hoof, applies the flee effect to the enemy troop, causing them to take might damage that ignores 20% of the enemy's defense. While that's happening, every second for 9 seconds, you're going to be dealing 30% might damage with a might bonus. If the enemy troop already has that flee state applied, immediately it settles the existing flee state. Don't know what that means. Don't know what it means by it settles it. I'm not sure if it means it ends and starts again. No clue. Not a clue. I'm not sure if I'm just reading this really poorly. Applies flee effect, cause them to take much damage. Flee applies. Yeah, I'm not really sure what they mean by settles the existing flee state. It might just mean that it ends and it can start brand new again. Who knows? In terms of the stars, so from his first star, what you can expect is the increase the damage rate of flee state by 10%. So that's going to go from 30 to 40% with a might bonus. Rank 3. Increases his signature activation chance by 10%, so it'll go from 55% up to 65%, and then when settling the flee state, increases damage by 15% with a might bonus. And then his final rank, increase the defense ignore rate of his signature skill by additional 5%, so it'll go from 20% ignored to 25% ignored. And then after each of these Earth Splitting Hooves, it's going to reduce your troops' damage taken by 5% up to 3 stacks. So at max, it will be 15% damage reduction, which is quite cool. Attributes, yeah, relatively high there on the might. A lot of might bonuses there, so it's really good to see he's got quite a strong might stat, which is cool. I'm not even going to try and pronounce this name. I'm just going to go with DJG, nice and easy. For Tactician, Pikes and Cavalry as well. Signature skill, just recovering units. It looks like that's going to scale really high with a strategy bonus, and it's also going to increase the strategy damage dealt by your other heroes, but I don't think DJG is going to be your commander. She looks like she's going to be decent support, so what she's going to do, she's going to recover your units with a recovery rate of 300% with a strategy bonus. Then it's also going to increase the strategy and the might of your other two heroes by an amount equal to DJG's corresponding base attributes, and it stacks up to 3 times and cannot be dispelled. With her stars, we've got the first one is just going to increase that recovery rate of the signature skill from 300% to 350% with a strategy bonus, so that looks huge. That looks quite healthy. It looks quite big. With rank 3, it's going to increase the Elixir Feast attribute transfer to the 2 other heroes with a ratio by 3% per use. And then for the 5th star, after activating her signature skill, it's going to reduce the troops damage taken by 15% with the strategy bonus. I guess just a decent support hero that's going to help either the Tactician Pikes, Tactician Cavalry. I'm not sure if she's going to replace Elizabeth. Maybe for the people that weren't able to get her in the MGE. I'm not sure. She might be an MGE hero. No, she's not an MGE hero. So for those that couldn't get Elizabeth in MGE, I assume then DJG can be a good alternative for yourselves. The strategy, 1.04 per level, starting at 95, is decent. It's decent, so you should get a good amount of strategy bonus from her. And then when we look at the customizable skills, Peaceful Haven, King's Blade, then we've got Strengthening Fortification. So when your commander uses their signature skill, their customizable skill damage increases by 6%. When they use their customizable skills, the activation chance of their signature skill increases by 2%, up to 4 times. Only works with active and secondary strike skills. So interesting. Again, I don't use these sort of commanders, so it's going to be really interesting to see once tests are out, maybe in a future Pioneer server, to see how she does. Also got the Immortal Army, so just recovering your troops units, 330% with strategy bonus, and then 100% chance to purify all your heroes' attribute debuffs, only those debuffs obtained in battle. I'm thinking Season 6 looks stacked. The must-haves for me personally, definitely Scipio, definitely Zhao Yun. I can see arguments for Alp Arslan as well, for anybody that is still clinging on to Copium with the warrior archers for sure. But yeah, Season 6 is looking expensive. There's a lot of good heroes coming. This is going to be crazy. Guys, let me know in the comments, which heroes are you going after? What are you going to be building? How are you going to be using them in Season 6? I'm curious to see what you guys are gunning for, looking to build and looking to use in that season. It's been a while since the last video. Might be a while till the next one as well. But in the meantime, stay blessed, people. Peace.